The White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's the most famous home in America, a global symbol of power and democracy. But for over 200 years, it's also earned another title, the nation's most haunted house. The stories are legendary, whispered by everyone from staff and first ladies to presidents themselves. It's the most famous home in America, a global symbol of power and democracy. But for over 200 years, it's also earned another title, the nation's most haunted house. The stories are legendary, whispered by everyone from staff and first ladies to presidents themselves. What you're about to see is a recreation of a story that has only recently come to light. A narrative built from a chaotic mess of corrupted files, security footage, audio logs, and internal memos, allegedly leaked from a compromised White House server. These files document one terrifying 24-hour period, a night when the most famous ghost in the White House, the solemn spirit of Abraham Lincoln, seemingly switched from being a quiet observer to a vengeful hunter. And his target, the President of the United States. This is the story of that night. Section 1. Our story begins late on a dark and stormy Friday, the night before Halloween. According to the log timestamps, President Donald Trump was burning the midnight oil in the residence, long after the West Wing had emptied out. The first sign that something was wrong wasn't seen, but heard, in a complaint logged through the president's intercom. Trump's voice: "Is anyone watching the treaty room? The lights keep browning out up here. It's freezing cold in one corner and I keep hearing noises. What's going on?" Agent's voice: "Sir, all systems are green. We show no power fluctuations on our end. Thermostats are stable. There are no unauthorized personnel in the residence." Trump's voice: "Then check again. Something's not right." Section 2. Now, a report like this wasn't totally unheard of. The White House has a long rap sheet of unexplained weirdness. For generations, staff have reported oddities like the faint smell of lavender, supposedly connected to the ghost of First Lady Abigail Adams, still heading to the East Room to hang her laundry. Even President Andrew Jackson is said to stick around. Mary Todd Lincoln herself claimed she heard Old Hickory's ghost stomping and swearing up a storm in the hallways. These were the established legends, almost cozy in their familiarity, but what happened on this night was different. This wasn't random. It was focused. At 11:45 p.m., a security camera in the corner of the Lincoln bedroom picked up something new. The room is dominated by the massive 9-foot-tall Lincoln bed. In the footage, the room is dead silent. Then, the heavy wooden door starts to creak open all by itself. It stops halfway, showing nothing but a dark hallway. For a full minute, nothing. But then a shadow from a piece of furniture starts to warp. It stretches unnaturally across the floor like a pool of ink before snapping back just as fast. Section 3. What makes this room so important is its history. You see, it's called the Lincoln bedroom, but Abraham Lincoln never actually slept there. He used it as his personal office and cabinet room. This was the very room where he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It was here that he grappled with the horrific losses of the Civil War, staring out the window onto the lawn below. This isn't a room of rest. It's a chamber soaked in the history and sorrow of a nation tearing itself apart. And it was here that the night's terror really started to ramp up. The next logs show the president getting more and more agitated. He started pacing through the residence, like he was trying to walk off a bad feeling. Security footage from the West Sitting Hall shows him moving fast, jacket off, throwing glances over his shoulder at nothing. As he walks past one camera, the video feed just dissolves into static, only clearing after he's gone. He wasn't the first powerful man to get spooked in these halls. As the famous story goes, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was getting out of a bath in the Lincoln bedroom when he saw Lincoln's ghost standing by the fireplace. Never one to be easily flustered, Churchill supposedly just said, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have me at a disadvantage." He refused to sleep in that room ever again. Another legend involves Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands, who was woken by a knock on her bedroom door. When she opened it, she was met with the towering, top-hatted figure of Lincoln and immediately fainted. But those were just brief encounters. The next audio log points to something way more aggressive. It's a recorded phone call from the president, and his voice is stripped of all its usual bravado, replaced by pure, rising panic. Trump's voice: "It's not just a feeling anymore. It's not a cold spot. I saw him, tall, in the hall. He was just standing there at the end of the hall." Voice on phone: "Sir, I assure you, the perimeter is secure. I have eyes on every hallway in the residence. There is no one there." Trump's voice: "Then what the hell did I just see? Don't tell me it's nothing. I know what I saw." Section 4. The log suggests that the president, now convinced he was being hunted, fell back to the one place he thought was completely secure, the Oval Office. A futile mistake. You can't lock a ghost out of its own house. Footage from the camera above the Oval Office's exterior door shows it being shut tight. For a few minutes, it's quiet. Then, slowly, the antique brass doorknob begins to turn. No sound, just a deliberate, impossible rotation. With a soft click, the latch gives and the heavy door swings open into the pitch-black office. What happened next is only captured on a corrupted audio file from a desk microphone. The recording is mostly noise, but underneath it you can hear the president's ragged, heavy breathing. And then another sound, a low, rhythmic dragging, the sound of something heavy being pulled across the floor. A voice cuts through the static, a deep, distorted, ancient whisper. Ghostly voice, my house. Trump's voice, get away from me. The yell is immediately followed by the sharp, unmistakable crash of a porcelain lamp shattering against a wall. Then the audio cuts out. This was no longer a haunting. It was a hunt, a game of cat and mouse between a world leader and a 150-year-old ghost who knew every secret of the building. How do you escape an enemy that can walk through walls? How do you fight a spirit who commanded these rooms long before you were even born? The White House, once his ultimate symbol of power, had become a prison. Climax. The final leaked file is the most disturbing. The timestamp reads 3:05 a.m. The source is a single damaged camera feed from the Lincoln bedroom. According to analyst notes, the camera was probably knocked off its mount and fell, but it kept recording. The skewed image shows only the floorboards and the bottom of a wall. The video flickers, constantly distorting. President Trump's dress shoes and trousers appear as he stumbles backward into the room. His voice is a series of panicked, garbled shouts at something just out of view. He's cornered. A long, dark shadow flows into the frame, completely untethered to any light source. It crawls up the wall, a gaunt, impossibly tall silhouette, topped with the iconic shape of a stovepipe hat. The voice from the Oval Office is back, but it's no longer a whisper. It's a voice of cold, absolute authority, resonating with the weight of history. Ghostly voice, you do not belong here. The president is seen falling backward, his legs giving out as he lands hard, just out of the camera's sight. A raw, terrified scream is cut short. For a moment, there's only static. Then a pair of large, worn, 19th-century leather boots walk slowly into the frame. They stop right in front of the fallen camera. The immense, dark figure they belong to looms over the lens, a pillar of shadow that swallows the remaining light. The screen cuts to black, one final, deafening blast of static, and then silence. Conclusion. The leaked files end right there. The digital trail goes cold. Official White House logs for the next day are suspiciously boring. A short internal report mentions a minor electrical fire that forced a system reset. The president's public schedule was cleared for the next 72 hours, citing a sudden, non-specific illness. For over a century, the ghost of Abraham Lincoln has been described as a solemn, watchful presence, a sad spirit forever tied to the home where he led a nation through its darkest hour. But this story, this collection of digital scraps, asks a chilling question. What if, on one dark night, something finally twisted that deep sorrow into a terrible rage? What if the building's quiet protector decided to become its judge? This story is a fabrication, a piece of modern digital folklore. It isn't true, but it's built on a very real foundation of ghost stories that have clung to the White House for generations. These tales are a powerful reminder that 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue isn't just a symbol of power, it's a living archive of history, tragedy, and memory, just waiting in the quiet halls for the sun to go down. Outro. So what do you think? Is the White House truly haunted? Let us know your favorite presidential ghost story in the comments below. And if you enjoy diving into that space where history meets horror, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more.